Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and welcome to the show, y'all. Look here. Man, look, Stanley is on the phone, and he's talking to Mary, and he's begging her to help him with this situation. He don't know what to do. He don't know what to do. He wants to do, for the one time in his life, what's right by his son, by everybody involved, but he's petrified, he's mortified at the prospect of doing this. What does that look like to him? What does that feel like? He don't know. He don't know, and he's afraid, and that's how a lot of people in here are. I really want y'all to understand that a lot of times, man, when you put a person in prison, you really help them escape facing responsibility. See, prison, it has this, I don't know what you call it. It don't hold people accountable. See, we put that label there and say putting them in prison is holding them accountable. No, it's not. Accountability has growth attached to it. Accountability is a person stepping up and saying, I get it. Prison is about punishment. And you can't punish a person more than they can punish themselves. And see, that's where society misses it when it comes to dealing with people in prison for some of the most horrendous things. Prison helps us escape. We don't want to face it. That's why a lot of people don't change and grow, because they never face it. Yeah, we got these things, well, and I know in Tennessee they got this thing called a strong R, where you got to sit down and you talk about what you did and how you did it and why you did it and what was going on in your life and all this and that. And I'm telling you, every single time that I've done a strong R, I couldn't help but cry. It crushes me because I got to relive it over and over and over, but I do that. You want to know why? Because my victims got to relive it. How do I get away from it? How do I get away from reliving it? I can't get away from reliving it no more than they can. Why should I be able to do that? Why should I? I shouldn't. I shouldn't. And I pray and I hope that one day that they'll be able to move to the next level in their life, and so will I. But when you're in here and you don't confront the demons, the things that made you see life in that way, you tend to want to forget. And you see, Stanley wanted to forget. But now he's got his own son and his soon-to-be wife, which is the daughter of the man that he killed. They want to talk to him. And his emotions are all over the place. He don't know what to think, what to do, and how to act on nothing. And he's afraid. And the woman that he loved and still does, he's begging her to help him. She don't know what to do either, but she tells him, I'm gonna come up there with them. We're all gonna come up there. And we're gonna do this together. But you got to tell them the truth. And whatever they say, whatever they feel, you have to deal with it. And that's the end of it. Because if you don't, you're going to damage them both in ways that they might not be able to repair. You're going to cause harm to them way beyond what you've already done to all of us. And Stanley sat on the phone, and she knows him. She knows him. She knew in that moment that he was probably crying and he was probably hurting. But it wasn't time to worry about his tears or his hurt. One time. This was about her son and her daughter-in-law, soon to be. This is what this was about. This is what this was about. And that's what I mean by the people that get hurt and carry that pain with them for years. We don't think about them like that. So they all arranged and ended up going to the visit. And when they walked in, Stanley could see himself in his son. He could see Rick and Candace. And he stood there. He was shaking. They could see him. He was visibly shaking. Armpits sweating, stained already up. And they get to him and they all sit down. No hugs, no kisses, no shaking hands, no nothing. And after everybody had introduced themselves and all this and that, Kevin got straight to it. He's looking at him eye to eye, man to man. Candace, she's looking at him. She's angry. But she sees this man that it's not what she thought. He's not 10 feet tall. He's this old looking, beat down person that's afraid. Now it don't soften her up. It don't soften her up. They went in. And Kevin said, why? Why did you do it? So he starts to explain the crime to him. But see, that's not what Kevin was looking for. He wasn't looking for that. He didn't want to know about the crime. He wanted to know about the man, the person. What made you think this is the right thing to do and how to deal with people? That's what he wanted to know. Stanley didn't know how to answer that. He said, man, all I know is when I was growing up, you just didn't let people push you around. But Kevin said, this was your friend. Stanley bowed his head. He said, I know. But even amongst friends, you couldn't allow stuff like that to happen. He said, and look what happened. And look what happened. And Candace, she's looking at him. And she surprised everybody. Everybody in the room. By asking one question. She said, how do you feel about it now? And he looked her dead in her eyes with tears running down his face. He said, I regret it every day of my life. Every second of my life. And if I could take it back, I would, but I can't. And she just sat there and she stared at him and her face softened up and he looked at her and he said, look, I understand if you hate me. I get it. But is there anything that I can do to ease your pain? And she told him no. There's nothing that anybody can do. She said, excuse me, I had forgotten about it. I had forgotten about it. And she said, you robbed me of creating memories with the man that gave me life. And I don't know how to feel about that. I never got to know him. I never got to know my biological father. And she told him, you know what I'm saying, how her life had been. And for the first time, her mother and her stepfather heard that she wasn't happy all the time growing up. She saw the abuse. She saw the mistreatment that her mother had suffered at the hands of the man that raised her, and she didn't like it. And she always wondered since the day she found that box what her life would have been like if he would have been here. And this sent shockwaves through Queenie and her husband. But they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything. Sometimes it takes those moments to make everybody wake up and realize how it affects the people around them. How their behavior affects the people around them. The ones they say they want to protect. And you see, the only person that had heard what she said in that moment was Kevin. She had confided in Kevin about how her life was, and Kevin was surprised that she was that open with it, but she needed Stanley to know how her life turned out. So she had to lay it all out there, play the game that was dealt to her, and she didn't hold back, and it made her feel okay. And after an hour of visiting, you know, she told him, she said, I forgive you. I do. And I really appreciate you allowing me to come and talk to you. She's telling him this. So you know, Queenie and Mary, they get up and they go to the vending machine and get something to eat and to drink, and they bring it back to the table and they offer it to him. And then Kevin and Candace, they get up and they go to the vending machine. You know, she needed some air. They needed to talk away from everybody else. And while they were at the table, all of the adults, they tried to comfort Stanley because they saw regret. They didn't see somebody that was boisterous, prideful, not wanting to accept responsibility. They saw somebody that they knew. They saw the person that surprised them when they did what they did. And they felt bad for him. Because even when you get it, that don't mean you get out. Even when you accept responsibility, that don't mean they shorten your sentence. It ain't what that means. It's not what that means. So I want y'all to start to come to understand that when you do something, think about all the other people that it's going to affect. Think about all the other people that are going to grow up missing out on something that you could have given them. Think about all the things you're going to miss about them growing up. Think about all of that before you go out there and you do something silly. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.